Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge we are in Treaty One territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Inuit Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. I'd like to introduce the members of the panel and the secretary to the board, as well as the assessor. Panel members this morning are Kent Seelan and Stu McPherson, and I am the chair this morning. My name is Mike Truglio. From the assessment department, we have Arif Dosh Mohammed, and from the administrative personnel, we have Sally Caulfield with us. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note you will be placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg's Boardroom YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by council and is independent of it and the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to Court of King's Bench if matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each slide will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all evidence about the application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You'll receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We'll be hearing items 3 to 5 on our docket today. Ms. Caulfield, please affirm the assessors and the applicant's testimony.
Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Arif Dosh Mohammed.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Story, I'm going to put you in the waiting room now.
Good.
Please state your full name.
Carson Horsborough.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so we are first up at 1680 Sargent Avenue, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, well, let's have your presentation for that particular property.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. So roll number 075690033300. Address is 1680 Sargent Avenue. Roll year is 2026. Reference date is April 1st, 2023. We are assessing at $2,493,000. Parcel use code is industrial warehouse. Number of buildings is 2. Number of premises is 3. Number of stories is 1. Actual years built range between 1962 and 1969. Effective year built ranges from 1962 to 1973. Wall heights range from 16 feet to 26 feet. Construction is masonry, zoning is M2 manufacturing. Land area 76,690 square feet, plan area 16,537 square feet. Same with the gross area. Leasable area is 17,257 square feet. Land to plan area is 4.64 to 1. On the following page, you'll note that there was a sale on this property on March 9th, 2017, approximately 6 years before the reference date. It sold for $1,950,000. If you go to my page 11, if you could just let me know when you're there.
Thanks.
Okay, so at the top of the page there, the subject map in relation to the city of Winnipeg. The subject is located in the northwest quadrant of the city. Down at the bottom, just a little bit of a close-up, you'll note that the subject is close to all major routes and the airport. On the following page is the subject parcel boundaries. And on page 13 is just the site plan. Page 14 are aerial views of the subject property. You'll note that the subject property is bound by a rail line on one side and Sargent Avenue on the other, and then another property right beside it on the west side. Again, on page 15, overhead view of the subject property from the north to south side. And then on the following page is the opposite view. On page 17 is the subject street views. Same with on page 18, the top there. On the bottom of page 18, there's the building summary. You'll note that there's two buildings there, one built in 1962, one built in 1969. The one in 62 has a square foot of approximately 11,500 square feet, and the other one has a square foot of 5,000 square feet approximately. Also note that 2/3 of the subject has a wall height of 26 feet. On page 19 is a permit that was taken out after the sale of the property for $25,000 for interior alterations. Same with page 20, another permit for $60,000 for interior work. On page 21 is the income and expense that was submitted by the owner. You'll note that they have a rental income of $134,141. They also have or they're collecting revenue from parking, which we have not included in our assessment. On the following page is the tenant roll. So what it appears like is Stronghold Gym appears to have moved out in August 31, 2022, and they were in Unit 2, which is now occupied by the other tenant. So the other tenant is occupying both Units 3 and 2. You'll note that the rent for Unit 2 when Stronghold Gym was there was $4.47 per square foot. And when Quick Derm moved in, they increased the rate to $9.75 per square foot. So if you add the two units for Quick Derm, units 2 and 3, they are paying $3,161 for one unit per month and $2,574 per month for the other unit. If you times that by 12 months, you get 68,820, and you divide that by the square foot that they've leased out, it works out to about $10.87 per square foot that they're paying for the two units combined. So the total square foot area is 17,257 square foot, less the tenant area of 6,328 square feet. That leaves the owner occupied section of approximately 10,929 square feet. Now, if you look at what they're collecting in rent, 134,000 approximately. I'm assuming that part of that includes the owner's rent, since the tenant is only paying $68,808 per year. So if you divide the owner's leased area, 10,929, by the remainder of sorry, let me do this again. If you take $134,141 and you subtract the tenant amount of $68,808, that leaves $65,321 of income, which must be attributed to the owner. So in other words, the owner is paying $5.98 per square foot. So the owner is getting more square foot, or he's getting a better bang for his buck. So he's renting out 10,929 square feet for less than what the tenants are paying for 6,328 square feet. I hope that makes sense. If not, I'll be happy to answer questions.
So, just, I want to clarify, just because I want to clarify it at this
Sure,
moment.
yeah.
The tenant area is how much you said?
So they're renting units 2 and 3.
Yeah,
So 31,000 or 3,160 square foot for unit 3 and 3,168 for unit 2. So
For
that
total
equals up
of?
to 6,328 square feet.
Okay. That's tenants. Okay. And how much does the owner have then?
So that leaves the owner with 10,929 square feet.
Okay. Thank you. And the rents that you've attributed to the tenant was
Yeah, at around $10.87 per square
okay,
foot.
I saw that. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And the balance is the owner, correct?
Yeah, which works out to about $5.98 per square foot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, so if you turn to my page 23, there's the sales mailer that the new owner submitted to the city. So you'll note that the sale date was March 9th, 2017. Consideration and sworn value was $1,950,000. Questionnaire, point number 2, the price agreed to was in January 2017. So point number 5 there, we ask if there was a market value appraisal done or opinion and value conducted. They've checked off both. I'm not sure if it was or not. But as you'll see on the following page, the lender has lent almost 95% of the purchase price. So I'm assuming the lender must have conducted an appraisal report. Point number 15, the overall condition of the building was in good condition, as per the new owner. And we ask if they were going to do any major repairs or improvements to the property. Point number 16, and they indicated that they were going to put $250,000 more into repairs and updating. Page 25, just the other side of the income, or sorry, the sales mailer. You'll note again that the lender is lent 95% of the purchase price. On the following page is the land transfer document. The important points here are point number 5, the consideration was $1,950,000. The transferee indicates that the fair market value at the time of sale was $1,950,000 as per paragraph 6. And paragraph 8 at the bottom there, you'll note that they are signing this document and making a statement under oath, and it's a declaration pursuant to the Manitoba Evidence Act. And then on the following page at the top is their signature. So just some more points, external industry reports, by Colliers. And I'll just highlight the main point here. If you turn to page 35. And it's just a summary of their Q1 2023, right when the reference date was, what the Colliers thought the Winnipeg industrial market looked like and their cap rate report. So in the Northwest region, they indicate that vacancy rate was 1.5%. That represented a 2.2% decrease year over year from Q1 2022 to Q1 2023. Rental rates have increased 11% during the same period, year over year. And then down at the bottom, cap rates for industrial properties have decreased to a low of 5.75 to 7% per their report. Also, I'll just point out one more thing, right at the last page, I believe it would be page 45 for you. We have some surplus land on this property, and it's not excess land because you can't separate it because there is no road access to the back of the property. So we're indicating that it is surplus land. And surplus land is not needed to support the existing improvement, but it cannot be separated from the property or sold off. So going back to my page 3, you can just let me know when you're there.
So you're at rent comparables?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there are my rent comparables, and like the subject, all comparables are industrial warehouse properties, and they're located in the St. James Industrial Market region. All leases are current in relation to the reference date. Effective year ranges between effective year built ranges between 1958 and 1977. Average wall heights range from 12 feet to 24 feet. Leasable areas range from approximately 3,000 square feet to 15,000 square feet in order to compare the different leasable areas available within the subject property. Excuse me. The net rents range from $8.50 per square foot to $9.75 per square feet. On the following page is our land comparable sales. So like I said, we have surplus land that we're valuing here. There's approximately 10,534 square feet that we consider surplus. So there is my comparables. All sales are prior to the reference date. All comparables are industrial vacant land sales. Land area ranges from approximately 73,000 square feet to 10,600 square feet. Sales prices range from between $9.71 per square foot to $19.22 per square foot. If you take the average of all that, that works out to be about $14.13 per square foot. We're valuing the surplus land at approximately $13.39 per square foot. So on the following page is our workup. So we are utilizing an overall net rental rate of $8.50 per square foot, 4.5% 4.5% market vacancy rate, 3% non-recoverable expenses, $4 per square foot for vacancy shortfall. This gives us a NOI of $132,894. We are capitalizing at a rate of 5.65%, and this results in a rounded assessed value of $2,493,000. So again, according to the external industry reports, they indicate that the Winnipeg industrial market has remained strong and in high demand across all types of industrial real estate in recent years. Vacancy rates have stayed low and stable. Rental rates have steadily increased and cap rates have compressed, trending downward. Therefore, for the reasons stated above, the purchase price 6 years prior to the reference date, the amount of debt the bank is willing to lend, I believe that the assessed value of $2,493,000 for the roll year of 2025, 2026 to be fair and equitable, and I respectfully ask that the board confirm this value. And I'm open to questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Herbert, would you like to have some questions at this time?
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Dost Mohammed, for your presentation. Yes, just a few questions. So if I can bring your attention to page 4, just starting with the excess land adjustment. Mr. Dost Mohammed, do you show in any of your site plans or pictures, I guess, which portion of the site is deemed excess by the department?
In regards to the subject property?
Correct.
So no, we don't have an actual breakdown, but it would be from the back towards the building, towards the main improvement.
Okay, so then looking at page 12, I guess we have the site plan. So I guess you see the main building, secondary building, parking, the overhead doors to get access into the building. I guess looking at page 12, can you kind of point to which part of the site could be subdivided and sold off?
Well, it's not excess land, so we can't subdivide it. It's just considered a surplus. It's not excess.
Okay. So I guess then my question would be, how could they realize that value of $141,000 if the land couldn't be subdivided and sold off?
Well, it's surplus land, so they could build on it, and if you look at the picture, they are using it. I don't know what that is at the back. I don't know if it's a Quonset. But anyways, they are using it, and if you look at the land to plan ratio, it's 4.64 to 1. So there is a surplus land attributed to the building or to the site.
Yeah, so if we move to page 13, you provided quite a good site plan of the property. We can see that where parking's used, and then on page 12, we can see where storage is used for various types of equipment. Again, I guess looking at the flow of this site on page 13, which part of the site do you find is not used by the property?
What I'm saying is the surplus land would be, so if you look at the picture on page 12, it's a regular shape, so the property comes to a point. So starting at that point to wherever the 10,000 square feet, 10,500 square feet of excess or surplus land would be is what is considered surplus to us.
Okay, thank you. So a few more questions. Just moving on now to page 17 and page 18. There's a date. Actually, let's move to page 18 and look at the photo. There's a date on the photo in the top left corner. Mr. Dost Mohammed, would you agree that this photo is post-reference?
Yes, it's the latest photo from Google Maps. So the way assessments work is we assess what's there on the reference, on the roll year. So for roll year January, for 2025 would be January 1st. So whatever's there on that date is what's assessed at a reference date of April 1st, 2023.
Thank you. Just one or two other questions. So on page 34, you've referenced the Collier's cap rate study. Colliers indicates Class A industrial cap rates have ranged from 6 to 7%. Class B ranged from 6.5% to 7.5%. Which classification would the subject property fall under?
We at the city, we don't classify between buildings A or B. We just have a cap rate study. So I know a lot of the other outside sources do classify buildings, but we don't classify buildings.
No, okay. And then I guess if we,
Like if you look at our cap rate study, you'll notice that our cap rates are the same for A and B. So
Right.
we're not really classifying between A and B.
and Mr. Mohammed, is that just a department policy, or I guess
We've always never had an A and B for industrial or A, B, C. I've recently I've started seeing C and D, and I don't even know what those definitions are.
So then I guess if we look at page 6 of your disclosure, the subject property, the applied capitalization rate, 5.65%. As per the table on page 7. That would really, would you agree that would put the property under what the city considers Class A, single tenant? It falls in that range?
Again, we're not we don't classify, but it's higher than the 20th percentile, so it would fall somewhere between the the 20th and the 80th. It's not outside those ranges.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. McPherson, do you have any questions of the assessor at this time?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to follow up on the land issue, Mr. Dosamat.
Yeah.
Additional land, got $141,000 attributed to it, and I believe you stated it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $13 per square foot that's applied.
Yes, 1339.
Okay, and you also stated that it was surplus land versus excess land. So excess land can be subdivided and used or sold off.
Yeah, it could be
Where
separate,
surplus land cannot. So is surplus land the same value as excess land? Do you think it would hold the same?
Well, the way we look at it is more buildings could be put on that property, or the outside storage can be used. So that's how we're looking at it.
I see. And
So it doesn't need to be there to support the existing improvement.
okay, and the land to building ratio of 4.64%, is that typical for an industrial building in the Northwest?
What we usually see is 2 to 1.
And I think in your presentation, you also stated that there was some parking income on the property?
Yes,
But-
there's in the income and expense mailer, there's parking income, but we have not included it in our assessment as other income.
And would that be on the surplus land area?
No, that's just supporting the main improvement there. Usually we don't, when the units are rented out, usually parking is included with it. So I'm not sure if the parking is for outside of those tenants or.
Okay, and thank you. Finally, just the cap rate. I don't want to dwell on it, but the 5.65 is at the lower end of the range.
No, like I said, it's between the 20th and the 80th. So we're seeing most cap rates that compress over the last number of years. So that's where the majority of the cap rates are falling, between the 20th and 80th percentile. So outside of that, if it was less than We
Right,
have our lowest at 5.35, so if, and our highest was sorry, 7.3. So if we saw anything outside of that, we'd give it a second look.
right. But 5.35 to 7.3 is quite a wide range, is it not? You're saying that's,
It's 2 percentage points.
okay, I thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seelan. Questions at this time, sir?
Yes, have you inspected this property?
I have not personally, no.
Okay, so you said it's in good condition. How did you come to that statement?
Sorry, I missed the first.
That's okay, you've mentioned that it's in good condition.
Oh,
How-
yes, yes. So if you look at the sales mailer that the applicant submitted, that is on page. On page 23.
23? Thanks.
Yes.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, so question number 15, what was the overall condition of the building at the time of purchase? And the applicant indicates good.
True, thank you. Thanks for the clarification. That's all my questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Just a couple questions. This is a model generated valuation, is it not?
Yes.
All right, and do you think that this property and where it's located is adding to the fact that the cap rate is on the lower part of the scale that the department has looked at?
I think so. And if you look at the rent that they're collecting from the tenants, it's higher than what we have assigned in our model. So I think it's generating a good income there. And it's part owner occupied. So the owner, I don't think can get rent, like he's attributing to himself between a $5 and a $6 rent. I don't think that's possible in that area.
And you would say that that area is a fairly good area for this type of
Yes, it's high traffic. It's located right on Sargent, and it's close to St. James. It's close to Century. It's close to the airport. There is a lot of traffic in that area.
All right. Those are my questions. Thank you for the clarification. With that, I believe we can move on to Mr. Horsberg's submission this morning, so please feel free.
Thank you, Mr. Coach Rubio. Okay, so as we're all aware, property we're discussing today, 1680 Sargent. The board will follow me to page 4. Subject property is a mixed construction, kind of piecemeal industrial property that was developed over 1962 and 1969. 11,497 square foot warehouse, the main warehouse you see in the photos and aerial view, and then the slightly newer 1969 warehouse measuring 5,000 square feet with a 16-foot clear wall height. So the issues for the Board of Revision to consider regarding this application are really threefold. First, we've already heard this morning that the city doesn't consider Class A and Class B any differences between the two types of properties. What I can tell you is that the market does. Participants in the market do differentiate between Class A and Class B properties. Main difference being that Class A properties tend to be newer and they tend to be investment grade. If you were to be an investor and buying one, you have a wide range of tenants that you could attract with very good covenants. Class B properties tend to be older. They were often developed for a purpose or a tenant. This is a Class B property, perhaps even a Class C property, but I would agree Class B. One issue that I'll speak to later on is the addition of the excess land. But primarily the issue for the board to consider is the applied rents and the capitalization rate, and with that, I'll get into it. So page 6, we discussed approaches to value. This property has been assessed on the income approach. I've valued it on the income approach as well. And move forward here to page 12 and page 13. Page 12, I've provided the city assessment, and on page 13, I've provided M&P's assessment with the main things to note: the rent and capitalization rate, as well as a different value for the land adjustment, which I'll speak to. Pages 14 and 15 have provided aerial photographs of the property, as well as exterior photographs of the property. And determining the potential income for the property, I have included the parking revenue. Page 17, the total income for the property amounted to $142,071. Moving forward to pages 18 and 19, I have provided a bit of a discussion on capitalization rates that I'd like to touch on. So the cap rate fundamentally is the benchmark of rate of return that investors are looking at when it comes to real estate. The capitalization rate is shaped by 3 primary factors. One being the level of risk associated with the stability of the property's income, the expectation of future appreciation, and the returns available from alternative investments. So this is why when the market looks at this property, when Colliers were to look at the property, they look at it as a Class B property. The property is already 70 years old. While you do have decent clear wall height in one of the buildings, fundamentally, this property isn't going to attract the kind of investors and provide the kind of appreciation to investors that a Class A property would. Now, looking at the bottom of page 18, same cap rate table that the city provides. Again, the difference being the way third party organizations like Colliers, CBRE, Cushman & Wakefield, the people who are in the market, talking to landlords, talking to tenants, doing these analyses, they all state that for Class A properties, 5.65% would probably be okay. But for a Class B property, cap rates are going to range from 6 at the low end to 7.5% on the high end. On page 19, I've provided a table to kind of summarize the difference between what a Class A industrial asset is and what a Class B industrial asset is. Again, with the main issue of contention with this assessment is the applied capitalization rate, which corresponds more appropriately with a Class A asset. The subject property fundamentally is a Class B asset and should be capitalized as such. So just looking at the summary, you know, you could even argue that this is maybe even a Class C property. I agree that it's a Class B, but most of the Class B stuff in Winnipeg was built in the 70s to the 90s. This property is built in the late 60s, acknowledging that, you know, 26-foot clear wall height, a bit ahead of its time. But looking at this table, it's very obvious that this is a Class B asset. You look at the tenants that they had or have had, and the tenants that have turned over. They don't have national tenants. You know, they have quick therm insulation. I have heard of, because I've seen one of their trucks around. I'd never heard of the gym that was in there. You know, for an asset like this, that's the kind of tenant you're gonna attract. You're not gonna attract the big multinational organizations that have the good covenants, right? You just can't on a property like this. It has its position in the market. Moving forward, the page numbers don't, they've kind of switched here, but it says page 2 on the bottom, but 12.3, it's just the next page after page 19 here. I've had a look at a few different industrial properties that have sold. This was done by a third party. Gives you an idea as to what properties similar to the subject have sold for in recent years and what kind of capitalization rate that they sold at. So, you know, excluding maybe 1500 Wall Street, which I would say there's some functional obsolescence there with the ceiling height. Everything else similar to the subject property, similar age, newer, some of these similar size, I'll sell in between 6.25% to 7% cap rate. So the cap rate we've applied to this property, it falls in line with what third parties say, and it falls in line with the reality of the market. Now, moving on to the next page. Again, I apologize that the page numbers have changed, but they're 12.4, the land adjustment. So when I was evaluating this property, it wasn't clear to me whether or not the city had deemed this land excess or surplus. I don't dispute that they have more land than perhaps they need, that more land than perhaps supports the highest and best use of the property. But what I do find with the city's adjustments for land value, they fail to recognize one really key issue, and that is that if the land's worth $141,000, and based on the comparable sales, I think that's a fair rate, but how would they realize that value? They would have to subdivide the land and sell it off. If they're going to realize that $141,000, well, then they're going to have to pay the 10% dedication fee. 10% of that land is going to have to be dedicated for park space, or 10% of the value is going to have to be paid out to the city. It's the bylaw. So I accept that the city has said they have more land that they need. The lot ratio is a 4.64. Fair enough, and I agree that it could, in theory, be worth $141,000. But if they were to realize that value, it would have to be subdivided, and this 10% fee would have to be paid out. So, agreeing with that, the prevailing value of that land becomes $127,000. Now, the final page, again, to conclude, looked at this property with the income in place, appropriate capitalization rate for this type of asset. You cannot support 5.65. There simply is not any support for it. I can't support it. If my client wants an appraisal for a mortgage, I can't support a sub-6 cap rate on a property like this. 6.75 is appropriate. It reflects the risk. It reflects the way the market would look at this property. And then the adjustment of $127,000 as opposed to $141,000, we arrive at the market value of $2,030,000. With that, I would welcome any questions. Thank you very much.
Very much. Mr. Sesser, would you like to ask questions of
Yes, please. Okay, let's just start with, so basically we're in contention, is the potential income, the cap rate, and the land adjustment. So may I just ask, how did you come up with the $142,000 potential income?
That's from the mailer.
So the mailer indicates 134,000. And does that include the owner occupied?
Inclusive of the parking as well.
So owner occupied, the tenants and the parking.
Yes.
Okay, and we did conclude that the owner is charging themselves less rent than what they're charging the tenants, is that correct?
Well, actually, right prior to the reference date, they had the tenant in at, I think, $4 and something a square foot, so the rent he was charging himself is actually higher than the rent he was getting from the gym, I believe, so I've accepted that.
But the mailer that was submitted was for 20, let me just. Got a lot of pages here. So the mailer that was included was for the 2021, or sorry, 2022 cycle, right?
I believe that's correct,
Okay.
yes.
So which was not which was reference date, correct?
Prior to the reference period.
Yes, okay. Okay. All right, and then in regards to the cap rate, you're indicating that all of these cap rates, except for Wall Street, could be applied to the subject property, is that correct?
I believe that they're similar in that they provide a kind of a real example of what these cap rates, what properties similar to the subject actually sell for, as opposed to just looking at the third-party reports and the city reports.
Okay, and you say that 205 Hutchings Street provides the strongest benchmark, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then on page 19 there you have your class A versus B industrial properties table. How did you come up with that?
So Collier's, CBRE, they all provide definitions of how they differentiate between Class A and Class B. This really just comes from my research and my knowledge, conversations with people in the market.
Okay, all right, maybe I'll just leave it at that. And then in regards to your excess land, you have that section there, 11.6. I believe.
Sorry, I do apologize for the page numbers not or changing halfway through.
So are you referring to the 2024 development agreement update by the Executive Policy Committee that was held January 21st, 2025?
No, I believe this has been around for a while. The cash in lieu.
Okay, and you would agree that's for new developments of neighborhoods, is that correct?
No, it pertains to subdivisions.
Well, but this wouldn't be a subdivision, would it?
Well, I'm
This
arguing
would
that
just, the division, it's an industrial area, and they're just, like, if you have a, say, a extra wide lot for residential and you subdivide that, would you pay the 10% on that?
yes. As far as my understanding, I
Yeah, I
haven't.
don't think that's how it works. This is for new developments.
Well,
But I'll leave it
I'm
at
saying that
that.
if you're going to subdivide this, if you're going to realize that value, a
You
subdivision.
can't put a park, you can't put a park in on a sub, say if you have an extra wide lot, residential lot, you can't put a park on there, can you?
No, but if you're going to
Because it's
subdivide
subdivided.
a parcel like this is the process you have
So
to go
you're
through.
saying if this was subdivided, there would be, and if they didn't want to pay the 10,000, they could put a park in there?
I don't imagine they would. I would imagine the city would.
No, but if they didn't want to
back-
pay the $10,000, would they get away with it by just putting a park up?
I don't know for certain. I would imagine you're not going to put a park up in the back of their lot. No.
Okay. Yeah, I think those are my questions, Mr. Chairman, but I do have a rebuttal. If I can send that.
We will, we'll go through the questions from the panel members first, and then we'll get to your rebuttal in a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Seeland, do you have questions at this point of Mr. Horsburgh?
Yes, have you inspected this property?
Unfortunately not. I haven't had the opportunity to yet.
Would you agree with condition of the property being good?
It's hard for me to say for certain. I accept that the property has been relatively well maintained. But I haven't been there myself to physically look apart from just driving past the property.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. McPherson, you have questions at this time?
Just one, the cap rate table that you've provided. I think you stated this isn't your actual work.
No, this was from a third party.
Okay, third party, and the type, you've got income in place and you've got imputed. Can you explain the imputed?
Yeah, absolutely. So income in place, the analysis done for the properties with income in place. The third party that provided this, they had the lease that was in place that was all able to calculate it based on the lease in place. Imputed means that the net income, the effective income for the property is based on a market analysis.
And do you know what the sample size was for the analysis?
I can't recall, and I'm not sure if I included that in my agenda or not. But I can't recall off the top of my head.
Okay, I thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Further to that, page 20 document that you provided, the table in particular, I note that the list of properties that you've given to us this morning does not have anything in the subject's immediate area, closest being Wall Street, I guess. And that is an imputed rent that you've used with it being an older property, and the building heights are only 11 to 12 feet. Whereas the subject property has, at least a good portion of it has a 26-foot clear span, it sounds like. Would you not think that that would be more attractive as opposed to full, you're moving to a cap rate of sorry, I've missed the cap rate for a second. 6.75. And so I'm just wondering why you would think that based on the way it looks, its location. Would you help me out with that?
Sure, yeah, no, absolutely. So, that this is the sample size that I have. These are the properties that I had to look at. I agree that Wall Street, there's some functional obsolescence there. But you look at this property and look at the kind of tenants that they attract. I fail to see from a market perspective, from an investor's perspective, this is a kind of property that you're never going to get the kind of covenants and the kind of tenants that you're going to get in a Class A property. He was getting $4 a square foot from a local gym.
And his own rent was included in that, correct?
Yeah, he was only
that leads me to my next problem or question, being that you're relying on the income and expense mailer for your income directly. And the owner is actually paying for part of that, it appears.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay. Do you think that the owner is paying market, quite honestly?
To me, it seemed that if he had a tenant, the best he was able to get was $4 something a square foot. It didn't seem to me out of line that $5 something, if he's only able to get $4 something, then charging himself $5.
And forgive me, but I also appreciate the fact that Your net rent of 142,071 is a $4,700 difference from the assessors. You guys are,
Quite close.
you're not very far
Not
apart with the
far.
actual income that you're using.
No.
All right, those are my questions at this point. Any rebuttal at
Rebuttal
this
from-
point? Mr. Doshman.
No, Mr. Chair, I haven't received the rebuttal.
Oh,
Neither
and,
have I.
and so we're gonna get to that in a moment.
I just sent off.
If I just open up my laptop. and-
Yeah, absolutely. Be my guest.
Would it be all right if we went into recess while I process this? please?
Yeah, that would
Thank
be
you.
great. So we'll take a quick recess so that we can get the documents sorted out. Thank you. So, Mr. Dr. Mohammed, would you please walk us through your rebuttal, please?
Okay, thank you very much. So what I have here is a cap rate rebuttal for the table that is located on after page 19 of the applicant's brief. So page 2, it's numbered, but I assume it's page 20. So there we have the income and expense mailer for 1635 Burroughs Avenue on my first page there. So the income in place just prior to the sale date was May 3rd, 2021. So the reported income for 1635 Burroughs Avenue was $95,448. But they also include in the expenses their leasing commissions, mortgage payment, and bank charges. So if you add all that up, revised NOI should be $138,575. You divide that by the sales price, and the actual cap rate utilized was 4.62% on that property. On the following page is 205 Hutchings Avenue. So there's the sales mailer that was submitted to the city for Hutchings. You'll note that the selling price was indeed $2,993,096 on January 2022. The actual date which the price was agreed on was October 26, 2021. It was an arm's length sale. There was a lease covering the building, so we have income on it then. So if you turn to the following page, the new owners did not submit the income and expense mailer for 2021. I assume they didn't have the financials at that time. So going back, if we look at the 2020 income and expense mailer, so that would start on page 5. They're indicating NOI of $65,276, but that also includes amortization and interest payments. So if you add those back, sorry, in my calculations, I got amortization listed as mortgage payment, but that should actually say amortization. And bank charges should say mortgage payments. So if you add those payments back to the reported NOI, we get a revised NOI of $149,665. If you divide that by the sales price, that gives you a cap rate of 5%. Now, I believe Mr. Horsberg said that 205 Hutchings Street was the strongest benchmark for the subject property. Actual cap rate for that is 5%. On the following page, we have the sales mailer that was submitted to the city for 680 Mission Street. The important thing here is, yes, it's sold for $8.5 million, but question number 3, this was not an arm's length sale. It was between related parties. So I'm not sure how much weight you could put on this cap rate. So I didn't do the calculation for the cap rate on that because again, it was between related parties. 1500 Wall Street on page 7. So they have a reported income of $59,377. Sales price was $950,000. That gives you a cap rate of 6.25, not 8.64%. And then on the following page, I have 1 Warman Road. So if you go to page 9, there's the transfer of land document. The actual sales price was $12.2 million, not $9.564 million per Mr. Horsberg's table there for his cap rate. So if you work that out, I have the calculation on page 15. So I'm taking Mr. Horsberg's income of $638,147, and I'm dividing that by the actual sales price of $12.2 million. That gives you a cap rate of 5.23%. Now, I believe Mr. Horsberg said that all of these cap rates, except for Wall Street, would be applicable to the subject property. So you could see that the cap rates right there, they range between 4.62% and 5.23%, which are lower than the cap rate that we are utilizing at 5.65%. So that's my rebuttal, and I'm open to questions. Thank you.
Horsburgh, would you like to have questions at this point?
Yes, please. I do have a few questions. So I guess let's start with 1635 Burrows. So Mr. Dos Mohammed, you're looking at income from April 30th, 2021. The property sold October 26th, 2021. Have you done any due diligence to ensure that this rent from 2020 hadn't changed between the time when the property sold and when this was reported more than a year
Actually,
prior?
the sales date was, as you have it in your table, May 3rd, 2021. No, this is right prior to the sale date, so that's a full year's worth of income.
Right, okay, but I'm looking at their rental revenue, 155,250 as of 2020. What was their revenue as of the sale date?
The sale date was May 3rd, 2021, right?
Correct.
This is from April 21st, 2021, prior to the sales date.
I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right one.
You're looking at page 1,
Page 1, yeah.
right at the top, April 21, 2021. For the 12 months ending April 30th, 2021.
So base rent, 161,820. Reported net income, 95,448. Can you confirm which expenses were removed? Was it just leasing commissions, mortgage payment? And
Yeah, I've highlighted the ones that were removed, so they're in orange there.
Oh, I see. And then it's 205 Hutchins that has the October 2021. I see.
Yes.
Okay, so then I guess moving on to 205 Hutchins. Sale date indicated here, October 26th, 2021. This one, the rents you're using are 2020. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I
did you do
indicate
any-
why I'm using that because the new owners submitted a blank income and expense mailer due to them not having the previous financials. So I put what they submitted on page 3.
Right, so then we don't know what rent was in place for 2021, or you don't know what rent was in place.
I
for
don't
20
know, but I assume it's either similar or maybe even higher. I'm not sure.
So you're basing your cap rate off of without any
Well,
sort of.
I'm basing my cap rate on so if the new owners didn't have financials for that year, they would have probably based it on the year prior. Is that correct?
I'm not sure.
Or I'm assuming, so
Right. Well, to me, it appears that, if you're gonna calculate a cap rate, you have to have the income in place. You can't just take, oh, well, in 2020.
what I'm saying is
this.
when they bought the property, they probably would have used the 2020 revenues. Since they don't have the 2021 revenue.
No further questions.
Thank you very much. Questions, Mr. McPherson?
I have none, thank you.
Mr. Seelan, questions at this time?
No questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
And I do not have any further questions, so thank you very much for that. Any final submission from either party?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Just a brief summation.
Go ahead.
So again, just very briefly, the issue pertains to this application for revision. We have a Class B property that's kind of mishmashed together. It's not investment grade. The cap rate studies are one thing, the cap rate tables that looking at these properties, they always end up being disputed and in contention between private sector and the assessors. We still have the market studies. This property fundamentally is not going to attract the kind of investment that's going to be able to justify a sub-6 cap rate on this property. And with that, I would ask that the board revise the assessment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And with this, that closes this particular property off. We will then move on. I believe it's 30 Midland. Mr. Doss Mohammed, would you please give us your submission on 30 Midland, please?
Okay, thank you very much. Rule number 130016662100. Address is 30 Midland. Roll year is 2026. Reference date is April 1st, 2023. Assessed value is $3,091,000. Parcel use is industrial warehouse. Number of buildings is 3. Number of premises is 3. Number of stories is 1. Actual year built ranges between 1914 and 1980. Effective year built ranges from 1917 to 1980. Wall heights range from 15 feet to 22 feet. Construction is steel frame. Zoning is M3 manufacturing heavy. Land area is 63,922 square feet. Plan area is 41,882 square feet. There is a basement area of 14,299 square feet. Gross floor area and leasable area are both 56,181 square feet. Land to plan area is 1.53 to 1. On the following page, you'll note that there has been a few sales. The most recent sale was 15 years prior to the reference date in the amount of 1.65 million. Now you'll see the wrench there indicating that it's tenanted by Canad Corp. That's just what we had in the system, but as we'll get into it, the submitted tenant role is a little bit different. So if you turn to my page 11, or sorry, my page 10. Again, this property is located in the northwest quadrant of the subject or of the city. Down at the bottom, a little close-up of the map. Again, it's located near major transportation routes and close to the airport. On page 11 is the subject parcel boundaries. At the bottom is the site plan. And then on page 12 and 13, the top of 13 is the aerial views of the subject property. And then at the bottom is the subject street views from Google Maps. Again, on page 14, same thing. On page 15, there's the building summary. So there's 3 buildings. You'll note that there's 11,000 square feet at 15-foot wall height, 16,000 square feet at 17-foot wall heights, and then about 29,000 square feet at 22 feet. On the following page is a subject listing from September 2020. The important thing here is on page 19. You'll note that they're asking for a lease rate of $7.25 per square foot, plus additional rent of $3.13 per square foot. I guess that's for common utilities. And then on top of that, there's also a management fee that they would be asking for. And then on page 21 is the income and expense mailer that was submitted. So you'll note that it is a net rent. Rental income is $244,592. They're indicating a vacancy of about 18%. Total leasable area of 42,623 square feet. If you take the rental income and divide it by the leasable area, that works out to about $5.74 per square foot net. So on the following page is the tenant role. Now, it seems like there's been people coming and going. So at the reference date, I see 2 tenants. I believe one tenant is the Canad Corp at and they're paying $4,839.66 per month. And the other one is WJ. I'm sorry, I can't read that. Sales Limited, and they're paying about $6.40 per square foot. And sorry, Canad Corp there was $4 per square foot if you work it out, but I believe they're a little bit higher than what we have there. Maybe not. Anyways, just moving on. Again, the industry reports in the back indicate that cap rates have compressed, rents have gone higher. Going to my rent comparables on page 3. Just let me know when you're there.
Moment.
On page 3, the rent.
Yeah, just a moment, sorry. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so, the rent comparables, like the subject, all, comparables are industrial warehouse properties and they're located in the St. James Industrial Market. All leases are current in relation to the reference date. Effective year built ranges from 1963 to 1977. Average wall heights range from 12 feet to 24 feet. Leasable areas range from 10,700 square feet to 29,200 square feet. In order to compare the different leasable areas available within the subject property. And net rents range from 6 feet to $8.81 per square foot. On the following page is our workup. So we're utilizing an overall net rental rate of $5.30 per square foot. We're assigning a 15% vacancy rate, 3% for non-recoverable expenses, $4 for vacancy shortfall. This yields an NOI of $211,705. We're capitalizing at a rate of 6.85%. This results in a rounded assessed value of $3,091,000. On the following page, I just want to point out, I have the little assessment history there. I won't dwell on it. I just want to note that this property was already heard for the 2025-2026 roll year in 2025. The board confirmed this value of $3,091,000 for 2025. This was heard on December 19th, 2024. It was file number 24-1768. And the panel was chaired by Mr. Ian Mahone. For the reasons stated above and for the fact that this has been heard at the board already for this roll cycle, I believe that the assessed value of $3,091,000 to be fair and equitable, and I respectfully ask that the board confirm this value, and I'm open to questions. Thank you very much.
Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of questions for Mr. Mohammed.
Sure.
So I guess just starting on the first page, or just a curiosity. Actually, you're built, ranged 1914 to 1980. The property was built kind of piecemeal. I guess where does the 3 years come from for 1914?
I think there might have been a permit taken out for some improvements, and it just brought the average up.
Okay, so that's just a model derived.
Yeah, well, not model. Somebody would have went in there and did the calculation and somehow forgot that value. So, just from a permit being taken out.
Okay. So just moving on here. So on page 2, you just note the one lease in place, the Canada Corporation of Manitoba. Was there no other leasing information on the city record?
Yeah. Apparently in our system, we just have the one, but the mailer indicates 2. So I believe in the past, what used to happen is PP&D used to send us occupancy permits, and that's how we got our tenants into the system. But they've stopped doing that, so we rely on these income and expense mailers. So I'm assuming that somebody will probably go out there and inspect again and get the new tenant in.
Okay.
So to answer your question, the one tenant comes from the system, not from the income and expense mailer.
Okay. Have you been up to the property to inspect it?
No, I have not. I've driven by there many times, but I haven't been in the property.
Has anyone from the department been to the property in recent years to inspect it?
I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you that. I'll tell you that somebody will be going out there as soon as I let them know.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'd be happy to facilitate the inspection. I haven't been out there either. I'd like to get a look. It's admittedly a bit of an odd
Yeah,
property.
I will let one of the FAs know and I'll get in touch with you.
Sure, yeah, you just let me know. But moving on now, page 3. Just looking at your lease comparables, effective year built ranging from 1963 to 1977. You know, admittedly, this is a unique property. Were you able to find any rent comparables for, you know, the more early 1900s industrial
No, I
properties?
was not, and also I was not able to find any basement leases. So this is what I found, and this is what I included.
Yeah, no, admittedly, it is tricky.
Mm.
But I guess again, we do have a stock in the city of older 1900s properties. I guess my question is, does the city not have any?
No, what I
data?
tried to do here was just to stay in the St. James industrial market region because it is quite unique in my opinion because it's close to the airport, it's close to the major routes, uh, and there's so much traffic due to Polo Park and Costco and whatnot. So
Would you agree that there are some very material differences between industrial properties built in the early 1900s versus industrial properties built in the mid-century?
yes, fair enough. And you'll note again, the rents here with my comparables range between $6 and $8.81, and we're not using any of those rents to do our workup. So
No, fair enough.
yeah.
So I guess moving on now, just wanted to touch on page 5. You noted, you mentioned to the board that this property was appealed previously for 2025, represented by a different agent, by a different company. Did you watch the hearing?
I did not watch the hearing, no.
No, I watched the hearing.
Okay.
The agent did a terrible job. I don't mean that in a defamatory sense. I mean, after about 3 minutes, he just said to the board, okay, go ahead and confirm it.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, well, I guess my question was, did you watch the hearing? But
No, I did not watch the hearing. I do note that on the board order, that the board made its decision based on the evidence presented by the Assessment and Taxation Department and at the request of the applicant.
again, so the applicant also requested it be confirmed. I don't know exactly what happened there. For whatever reason, they threw in the towel and they said, well, we'll appeal it to the municipal board. The client, of course, wasn't happy. That's why I'm here. But no, thank you for clarifying that. And then I guess really my only other question for you here, I just want to make sure I'm on the right page. Okay, so just page 6, again, the cap rate table, and I won't dwell on it too much. Do you have an idea if you had to say, would this be a Class A industrial property or a Class B or something?
Again, yeah, sorry. Again, in the department here, we don't classify, so we don't have any discussions about is it a class A, B, or C, or whatever the new classification is. So yeah, we really don't have those discussions here.
Okay. Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. McPherson, any questions at this time?
Just clarification, the overall rent you applied was $5.29?
$5 and about $5.30 approximately, yeah.
That's including 13,000 square feet at less than $2 being the substandard.
Right, yes, that would be the basement, yeah, and I just couldn't find any basement tenanted places, in St. James.
Right, and you haven't been to the property, so the
No,
basement
I'm
is,
not personally, yeah.
the basement is actually being utilized though?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if it's being utilized, but, I believe, in their, uh, brochure on page 19, they do indicate that there is a bonus additional storage space in the basement, consisting of approximately 14,000 square feet.
Okay.
That's on page 19.
Okay, I thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Seelan, questions?
My questions have been asked and answered. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And only question I have, I'm just curious, has this been appealed to municipal board?
Yeah, I was just gonna check because Mr. Horsberg brought it up. I will just double check quickly. No, it has not.
Okay, thank you. And then one final question, just to clarify, you're using a 6.85% cap rate on this property today?
Yes,
Okay, and looking at the department's range, which is 5.35 up to 7.3 based on its age, I'm guessing you feel this is an appropriate cap rate, correct?
I would assume so, yes.
And when you look at the outside sources, it seems to be supported.
Yes.
All right. Those are my questions. Mr. Horsberg, can we have your presentation at this point?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, as we're aware, the property we're discussing is 30 Midland. Property was appealed in 2025 for whatever reason. The applicant asked the board to confirm it. Owner wasn't too happy about that, hence why I'm here. So moving to page 4. This is a very odd property. So this property was built through what I believe to be 4 phases. First in 1914, a masonry warehouse was constructed. Included a basement section of 14,000 square feet. And then another masonry warehouse was added on in 1967. And then in 1980, another steel framed warehouse was added in, to the property. So, you know, this site was developed kind of mishmash, attached together over the course of, well, almost 80 years, about 70 years. It's a very odd property. There aren't many like it. It's a challenging property to look at and determine how would the market look at a property like this. It's unique. It's a very odd property. So moving on to page 5. Really 2 main issues with this application for appeal, or application for revision, I should say. You know, the property is a large warehouse. Good chunk of the building is well over 100 years old, 110 years old. Constructed with different materials over the course of several different periods of time. A property like this just, you know, you struggle to find tenants for it. You struggle to find its position in the market when you have an industrial being a very hot area in Winnipeg, and you've got so much new development. You know, where does a 1914 to 1980 mismatched kind of industrial building, where does it fit into the market? Well, what is its position in the market? And so you look at it, and And you say, well, is it class B? That's definitely not class A. And really it falls into what the market would look at as a class C category. It's a very odd property. My value for it came out to $2,475,000. I'll get to why or how I arrived at that number with this presentation. So now moving on, page 6 and 7, purchase to value, assumption conditions, 8 and 9, relevant municipal board cases, scope. I haven't been to the property myself. I plan to. I think Mr. Dos Mohammed will join me. We'll both have a good look at the property. And then on page 11, I do conclude that the highest and best use of the property is as it currently exists. Now moving on to page 12, I have provided the city's income workup for the property. And on page 13, I've provided M&P's valuation of the property. Really just 2 key issues for the board to consider. One being the potential income. We saw in the city's disclosure, they don't seem to have very good records for the property. They're not non-compliant, but apparently they only have one tenant at $4 a square foot, or you know, what I'm going to present to the board is the rent roll that's been provided by the landlord and the actual income in place for the property. So now moving on, page 14, I've just provided some aerial photos of the property. And you can see it's odd. You can see very visually, very clearly on page 15 the way it's, you know, piece by piece kind of built together. It's not one big warehouse. It's 4 that have been kind of chunked together. Page 16 provided more photos from the street. And then if the board will follow me to page 17, I have provided the rent roll for the subject property as provided in what I believe was provided in the income expense mailer as well. But this is the rent roll directly provided by the owner of the property. So what we can see here is that they do have tenants. The basement they can't find a tenant for the what to me are obvious reasons. It's a very difficult to find a tenant who needs a space like that. So here we go, page 17. We have everything. It's all clear. This is what they're paying. This is what they're getting in rent. The one difference here is that I've had to come up with a value for the basement space. You know, I've determined based on what I can ascertain from the market, and again, it's not easy to try to find basement space for lease. I did find 1 or 2. You know, I've applied $3.50 a square foot for that basement space. I think that's a market rent that they can get. The other 2 of those are the leases in place. Now, so if we just move on to page 18. I have done my best to try to find a similar space to the subject's basement. I did find one advertised basement property. It's 415 Mulvey Avenue. I don't know if anyone's been there. It's the Mulvey Flea Market. It's across the street from what I consider to be one of the best car washes, the River City Car Wash. It's only, I think it's $2, right? You got it anyway. There aren't many places like that. That's where I always wash my car. But so it's a Mulvey Flea Market. It's an industrial building. It's old. It's probably 1900s building. And they do have a big basement, and they're trying to lease it out for $1.40 a square foot. And that's just an advertisement. I wasn't able to find an actual lease for basement space, but that was kind of the best that I could find. And you know, I went with $3.50 a square foot just because of, you know, looking at other space. You know, I can't just hang my hat on one advertised rent for $1.40 a square foot. You know, I think $3.50 a square foot is pretty realistic for the subject. So now moving on, have a little bit of a discussion as to the cap rate. It's again, a unique property. Definitely some functional obsolescence in terms of the layout. The way we look at properties, it's not a class B. It wasn't developed in the 60s and 70s. It's definitely not a class A. It's not a 36 clear foot ceiling height out in Centerport. It's a 1914 mismatch. It's a very odd property. It would fall into really what in Winnipeg is the class C or even class D category. Now I have again provided on page 20 a table similar to what I provided in the past, just regarding class A, class B, class C. Again, based on market definitions, based on my expertise, based on the research I've done. Your class C properties are going to be selling at a minimum an 8 cap rate. There's just a very limited investor pool, a very limited tenant market for this kind of property. As we can see, they've had all sorts of problems trying to keep tenants in this place. That's the reality of a site like this, where you've got mixed ceiling heights. It's a 110-year-old building. There's some functional obsolescence that's inherent in the layout and the way that industrial buildings were constructed in the early 1900s. Lots changed. So cap rate table, again, I'm not hanging my hat on any of these cap rates. There's always dispute between the assessment department and the third parties that put these together. But what we can see is that older properties, lower wall heights, higher cap rates. So now moving on to page 22, just wanted to conclude. Potential income, $281,051. That's based on the leases in place, as well as what a market rent would be for the basement space. And then a capitalization rate of 8%, which reflects the risk profile for this odd of an asset. And with that, I would request that the board respectfully revise this assessment to $2,475,000. Thank you very much. We'll have many questions.
Thank you. And Mr. Dos Mohammed, do you have questions of the applicant right now?
Yes, please. Thank you. Mr. Horsberg, going to your tenant roll on page 17.
1 second.
Page was that, sir?
17.
Page 17. Page 17.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you. Just wasn't sure I heard it correctly. Thank you.
Just a little hard to see. I have to zoom it in here on my PDF file. Is that's post-dated, by the way? Is that correct? Post-reference?
These leases, yes, you're right. Actually, these did start on May 1st.
May
No,
1st,
I do apologize. I should have included the April. Oh dear. Yeah, no, you're right there.
Okay. And just another question there. Right above that, there's that gray line, the first gray line. It shows the tenant, or sorry, it shows the address, 30 Midland, and then unit A and B, and then it says True North Supply, and they're leasing 42,623 square feet. Is that correct? Am I on there? Do you see that?
I admit I should have blown this up a little bit more.
Okay. The important thing there is the annual rent that they're paying per area. If you zoom in there, it looks like they're paying $5.48 per square foot?
Yes, no, I do see that. It
Yeah,
kind of
that's the
contradicts
fifth
what-
column before the end there, like,
Yeah, no, I see what you're pointing out. This script is a bit odd because it kind of contradicts what the rest of that rent roll says.
okay. And then, so they pay that, and then there's recoveries, right?
Yeah, I believe there should be recoveries, correct?
Yeah, okay. All right, and then the subject property is not owner occupied, is it?
No, I don't believe so.
Not even partly.
Not even partly, no.
Okay. Has it ever been put up for sale that you know of?
I know they've shopped it around off market, but I don't
But
know
not
if
on
they
the
actually
market.
put it on the
Yeah.
market, no.
Okay. So if the owner doesn't occupy it and it hasn't been put on the market, then it must be an investment property for the owner, which generates income. Is that correct? Would you agree?
Oh, no, it certainly, there's income being generated.
Okay. All right. And then on your page 21, your cap rate table, I hear what you said, that you're not putting your cap on any of these cap rates, but in your evidence, you did say that 1600 Wall Street is the most comparable to the subject. Is that correct?
Oh, it certainly is the most comparable.
Okay. And then would you agree that according to my rebuttal, the cap rate, the actual cap rate for 1500 Wall Street was 6.25%?
Well, I don't fully agree with your rebuttal and the methodology that the city's applied and coming to your cap rates. I think there's some serious flaws in that analysis.
Well, we are using actual income in place.
Mr. Assessor, sorry,
I-
apologies. I have to interrupt you because of the fact that the rebuttal was done on the previous property.
Oh,
You-
sorry, can I,
You need to bring that into the equation before we can, because we heard it on the previous one, but in all fairness, we have to do that for also for this one. Now, we can have you say, yes, there is rebuttal, and we've already pointed to it, and I'm happy to do that, but we have to go through that process.
oh, okay, I'm sorry, could I,
Yeah, you understand why, correct?
yes, so, can I point that out now, or should I wait, or?
Well, at this point, we might as well point it out now, and that way we
Okay.
can bring that into the equation
Yeah,
at this point, so
yeah.
that we can.
My apologies, so yes, I did submit rebuttal for the prior property, and I would like to have that forwarded to this property. To indicate that the cap rate should be revised according to the information provided in the rebuttal.
Does the assessor not have to address the rebuttal prior to the presentation?
Well, at this point, we've, as we did last time, we did it when everything was completed. So now at this point, I guess we could just put it in at this point and just say, okay, we've gone through this. We appreciate that there are changes that were made in his opinion regarding the rebuttal, and we should bring that forward to this property so that it's
Sure.
everyone's talking about the same thing. I don't want to have someone looking in on this property alone.
Yeah.
And then hearing something about rebuttal that was never brought forward. You know?
Exactly, oh, yes, yeah,
Okay, so that's the purpose.
perfect.
So if we can just have that inserted at that point, so Sally, would we be able to bring that into this one and put it in so that it's a part of this? Please, and thank you.
Done.
Perfect.
I'm not gonna rename and redistribute.
No, you do not. It's already in place. We will accept it as is. So, go ahead at this point, Mr. Duffman.
Yeah, sorry, that was my only thing. My apologies to the panel and to the applicant. I didn't mean anything by that. I just,
Nothing, no offense, it's just, we need to make
I
sure that we
understand.
bring it forward for each individual property. It's all fine and dandy, we're speaking live, we know what happened, but if someone's coming in just on this property alone, we have to have some reference to it in the present property, so that we can all talk about it freely at that point.
I understand, okay. And yeah, those were all my questions anyway, so
All right.
thank you.
Very well. Mr. Sealer, any questions at this point, sir?
Sure, so there's 3 separate buildings on this property.
That's correct.
Thanks. Can you walk through them, or do you have to go outside to access them?
That's actually a very good question. And I'm not certain. I need to get out to the property to do a full inspection of it. Generally, in my experience inspecting properties like these, often they are connected. Either they really seriously like cut a hole through or install a small kind of walkway attaching them. But I don't know for certain.
Thank you. That's all my questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. McPherson, any questions, sir?
No questions for me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and just you're at an 8% cap rate because you feel that it's even further beyond what the outside sources are suggesting?
No, the risk profile on a property like this.
All right. Those are my questions, and I thank you for your presentation this morning. Is there any summation on either part, gentlemen?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, and with that, I believe we can close this particular appeal. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Mr.
All
Horsey.
right, I think at this point, I think I'd like to take a break if we could.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes, go ahead.
the next property, I believe, has a preliminary issue that we'll have to deal with.
That is correct. That is my understanding.
So I wonder if rather than take a recess, we can go in camera instead. Just a thought, but it's certainly up to you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, we can go with camera and decide on what we're going to do with respect to that. That is for
Both parties would have to present on the record before you met.
before we can, yes. Well, then maybe we should do that and then take the because we're gonna have to make a decision on that one way or another. So Mr. McPherson, yeah, I think you bring a good point, and maybe we should move forward with the presentation regarding that, and then we'll make our decision and take a break to make that decision. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming this morning,
Yep.
and you will be hearing from us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dos Mohammed. Thank you to the members of the panel, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Horsberg.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Story, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful.
Would you like me to affirm?
Yes, please. That would be very helpful.
Mr. Story, could you please state your full name?
My name is Jared Story.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. All right, so we understand that there is a preliminary issue on this particular property. We should hear from the assessor and the agent so that we can make a decision as to what is going to be happening. So please, Mr. Dos Mohammed, would you give us the preliminary intro on this? And
Yes.
please.
Thank you very much. Roll number 130717777200. Address is 1030 Pacific Avenue. Roll year is 2026. Reference date is April 1st, 2023. Total assessed value is $5,393,000. $100,000. And there is a couple of class and liability issues. I'll get to that later. Parcel use code is industrial warehouse. Number of buildings is 5. Number of premises is 5. Number of stories is 1 to 2. Actually,
Pardon me, Mr. Chairman, should we not be dealing with the preliminary issue first?
We should be, all I was looking for was the read-in of the address and the roll number. You're quite
oh, I'm
correct.
sorry. Okay, yeah.
Mr. Dost Mohammed, if you could go to the issue that
Yes.
speaking here, so what is
Okay, yeah.
the
Yeah, so
non-compliance?
yeah, we're requesting the burden of proof to be placed on the applicant for non-co-op, according to section 53(3)(b) of the Manitoba Assessment Act, and if there is a reduction, that it follow section 54 3.2 of the act also. And that is because if you turn to page 20,
Yes,
we had sent out an income and expense mailer dated June 9th. So the expense mailer is between pages 20 and 22. And then at the bottom of page 22, there's some tracking info that it was sent by Canada Post with the tracking number. And then on page 23, there's a confirmation of delivery and a signatory name. And we never did receive that back from the applicant. So, and that's why we're requesting the non-compliance.
right. And Mr. Story, what is the
Yes, sir.
reason
No,
that your client has not produced information?
we are accepting the ownership in this instance, sir. We are our appeal is on class code and liability and not value. So we're happy to accept the penalty and I'll explain more in my presentation, but we are not disputing the assessor's request at this stage.
All right. That being said, I still think we need a break, quite honestly, so we will come back in a moment or two. Give us maybe 10 minutes, that would be great.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
We are live.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. And Mr. Story, at this point, since you have agreed to the deferral, we are of course in agreement with that at this point. So you're up, sir. Let's have your presentation, please.
Thank you, sir. So as we've established, we're discussing the property at 1030 Pacific, and as Mr. Dost Mohammed mentioned, there are 2 exemptions at play here, and our application to the board today was based on a reallocation of the exemptions. Now I've just for background, I have written to the city assessor, and I've now received a response. I've spoken with Mr. Dost Mohammed, and it appears that we are in agreement to proceed collaboratively through the administrative process to request that a supplementary be issued to capture the adjustment to the tenancy as of the reference date. So for our purposes today, sir, I will respectfully request that the assessment be confirmed so that the owner maintains the right of appeal should the supplementary not be issued. But I have faith that we will be able to collaboratively make these proper adjustments. So for our purposes today, I will simply request that the file be confirmed, and Mr. Dost Mohammed and I will continue to work on the reallocation of the exemptions. So that is my presentation, and I thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Story. Mr. Dost Mohammed, would you like to fill this in from the department's perspective, please?
Yes, we are going to inspect the property just to make sure the square footages are in line with what we have, and if not, we'll correct them. And we are going to be issuing a supplementary in regards to class and liability.
All right. Well, I commend both of you for coming to the meeting of the minds on this, gentlemen. So much appreciated from the board's perspective. So with that, we are asking the value to be left at $5,393,000, correct?
Yes,
And that is broken up currently as $1,270,000 as 40E, correct?
yes,
Okay, and the second portion being $4,123,000, that is currently 40S.
sorry, my apologies. The first section is 60E is how we have it.
60E, okay, sorry, it looks,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at Mr. Story's brief.
Yes,
here.
Mr. Chair, I apologize for that. That's because this is a city tenanted space, typically we would see a 40E, but in the specific instance by the legislation where it is a city tenanted space, it is indeed 60E. So Mr. Doss Mohammed is correct. Yeah. Bit of a unique situation.
All right. So that being 60E and the balance being 40S as has been shown. And again, I'd like to thank you both for your presentations this morning.
Thanks, sir.
Any questions? Well, maybe we'll just go through quick questions just to be certain. Any questions from either party at this point of each other? No?
Not for me.
Panel members, Mr. Seeland, do you have any questions of
No questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
thank you. And Mr. McPherson, any questions?
I do not, thank you.
And I have none further. So with that, I think we can conclude this hearing and we have heard all items scheduled and this hearing is now adjourned. So again, thank you very much for your presentations today, gentlemen, and your patience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank
Have a
you.
good rest of your day.
Yes.
Thank you.
You too.